Ha, thank you. We are now recording. Welcome and thank you all for joining us today for this webinar that will be focusing on broadening participation in STEM by sharing opportunities in fellowships, internships, and employment with several federal agencies and other STEM organizations that have joined us today. My name is Iris Wagstaff, and I'm a STEM Program Director at the American Association for the Advancement of Science, or AAAS, and I'm also the NSF Principal Investigator and Lead for the EARN Initiative. So I will start out with just a little bit of information about AAAS for those who aren't familiar. So AAAS, most people know us through Science Magazine, but we actually have a family of scientific journals, so definitely make sure to go ahead and check out journals of other topics of interest. AAAS is the oldest and largest general scientific organization in the world. We were founded in 1848 and have about 200,000 members worldwide. We have a simple mission, but it's huge, and that is to advance science, engineering, and innovation throughout the world for the benefit of all people. And we accomplish this mission through a variety of programs, projects, and initiatives. The EARN initiative is one of those. So just a little bit about the EARN conference. So EARN stands for Emerging Researchers National Conference in STEM. We've held this conference annually since 2011. It is supported by the National Science Foundation, HBCU Universities program. And the goals and objectives are really to help prepare and support a diverse cadre of students for global careers in STEM, and to help students really hone their scientific communication skills. Additional goals are to really help build and support a sense of belonging and community in STEM, particularly for those students who are underrepresented minorities in STEM. So we are actually looking at hotel options for next year. We're targeting the conference for either March or April of next year. Actually, that should be February or March. And just check back mid-August, because that is when we will launch general registration. We'll also launch our call for student travel award applications, as well as our call for student oral and poster abstract submissions. So I just want to acknowledge my team. In addition to myself, we have Neela White, who's our project director, Allison Gonzalez, who's a senior program associate, and then our external evaluator is Gabby Haynes. So I will stop sharing here, and I will pass it off to our first presenter of today, who is representing the Department of Energy. Ping, I will pass it off to you.
Thank you, Iris. Let me put down the. Okay, can you see? Okay, good. Okay. Hi, everyone. I am Ping Ge, the Director of the Office of Workforce Development for Teachers and Scientists at the U.S. Department of Energy, Office of Science. It is my pleasure to share with you STEM workforce training opportunities sponsored by DOE Office of Science. Do not hesitate to stop me for questions. Iris, I would appreciate if you could pass on any questions in the chat. Really appreciate that.
Yeah, I will monitor the chat, and it will also have a chance for Q&A at the end as well, open Q&A.
Understood. Thank you. So before I get to the STEM opportunities, I would like to provide a little context about what we do at Office of Science. DOE Office of Science mission is to deliver scientific discoveries and major scientific tools to transform our understanding of nature and advance the energy, economic, and national security of the United States. So in order to accomplish this mission, we support activities in three major areas. The first major area is to advance the frontiers of science. DOE Office of Science is the largest federal supporter in the physical sciences. So we do that by 8 research program offices to support fundamental basic research. The research portfolio includes computer and computational science, applied mathematics, system biology, earth and environmental system science, material sciences and chemistry, condensed matter physics, studies of universe, nuclear physics, and fusion energy. Office of Science is one of the leading agencies in supporting quantum information science, artificial intelligence, and machine learning across all disciplines in the physical sciences. In terms of workforce support, we sponsor over 24,000 PhDs, graduate students, undergraduate students, engineers, and support staff at more than 300 universities and at all 17 DOE national laboratories across the nation. The second major area of our mission is to advance the DOE mission by supporting a suite of energy and environmental research frontier centers, including over 36 energy frontier research centers and more than 4 bioenergy research centers. The third area is to maintain and advance a suite of world-class scientific user facilities and across the nation. These user facilities are hosted on the campus of DOE national laboratories, and they receive over 33,000 users on annual basis. So DOE's role in science and engineering education has a more than 60 years history, and we primarily support STEM in 2 areas. The first one is workforce training. The second area is to promote science and energy literacy at all levels. So for DOE Office of Science, there are 2 major parts in terms of workforce development. One part is those supported by Office of Science research programs. And so research programs, 8 of them support over 4,400 graduate students and many postdocs. So that's the level that the research program focuses on at the moment. And the graduate students and postdocs are mainly supported on research grants. And in addition to that, Office of Science research program also support tailored training opportunities in the areas that are limited or not available in the university's curriculum and also not adequately addressed by other federal agencies. So such as in the area of computational science, accelerator science, nuclear physics, nuclear chemistry, and isotope R&D. That's the first part of the workforce development and the DOE Office of Science. The second part is those from my office. The office is Workforce Development for Teachers and Scientists, WDTS. We support over 1,400 internships, graduate training opportunities annually, including faculty's visiting appointments at all 17 DOE national laboratories. We manage this program based on long-lasting partnership with the DOE national laboratories. So next, I would like to give you some examples of the major activities we support. So the first part, here are several major activities supported by Office of Science research programs. The first one is the Computational Science Graduate Fellowship. You have heard about this. This program is quite successful and mainly focused on supporting the training of graduate students, both master's and PhD students in the area of high performance computing. The fellowship includes a required DOE lab practicum. Essentially, that means that the fellow is required to complete say a summer working with DOE laboratory scientists on site at the DOE lab. And then research program also support a couple of summer schools. 2 major ones. One is the nuclear chemistry and radiochemistry summer school. The topic here are those you so-called actinide, heavy element, right? If you look at the element table. So those are very popular for, including undergraduate students and the graduate students. And then the U.S. Particle Accelerator School. The U.S. Particle Accelerator School is managed out of the Fermi National Lab and has been quite a phenomenon. It's now including a lot of international students who wish to get trained through this summer school. So since about 2 or 3 years ago, the high energy physics, nuclear physics, and isotope R&D and production program offices each started their own research traineeship programs. These programs either focused stationed at the university or national lab, focused on undergraduate and graduate level. So for my office, WDTS, our mission is to ensure a sustained pipeline for the STEM workforce for DOE mission. We have 4 major workforce-based workforce training programs based at the DOE National Laboratories. The Science Undergraduate Laboratory Internships open for both 2 or 4-year college students from undergraduate students from 2 or 4-year colleges and universities. The Community College Internship Program, CCI, is a dedicated flagship program for community college students. And typically 25% of the applicants are from minority serving institutions. The Visiting Faculty Program, VFP, attracts faculty members from HBCUs and other minority serving institutions. On average, about 50% of the participants are from minority serving institutions, and about a quarter of the faculties in the VSP program are from HBCUs. The first program is the graduate level Office of Science Graduate Student Research Program, SCGSR. The program is to encourage graduate thesis research in high need areas for workforce development. And so about on average 15% from minority serving institutions, and 1/3 are women at the graduate level workforce training program. So we partnered with DOE National Laboratories to establish program requirements and guidelines for model practice to ensure delivery of meaningful, productive, and consistent internships and training experience to all students and faculties across the 17 DOE National Laboratories. So I would like to take advantage to give of the opportunity here to give a shout out to about National Lab, which is a very unique training area, environment for students and faculty. Aris, how I'm doing in terms of time?
You have 3 more minutes total to include any questions.
Sure. So quickly, so I prepared a 1-pager slide. I'm gonna share with Iris and then to distribute it to all of you so you can see details of each of this program. We do not have time to go through all these details. And these are some of the major program features. We emphasize on hands-on research and discovery learning, have dedicated mentorship and team science, result-oriented competence building, and also we emphasize professional development as part of the training. From this year, the whole Office of Science will start a new initiative called Reaching a New Energy Science Workforce, Renew. So I hope will significantly increase opportunities for students from underrepresented group and minority serving institutions. The last but not the least, I would like to do a little bit advertise. We are hosting a virtual Internships fair in October 2022 in collaboration with all the DOE National Laboratories. If you look at this picture on the right in the middle, that is a screenshot from last year that every national lab will have a booth there in the virtual space, and you can go to the booth, talk to the representatives from each national lab to look for opportunities to do an internship or understanding employment opportunities at the DOE National Laboratory. Thank you, Iris. Thank you, everybody, for your time. Sorry, I will wait until the last for your questions, but feel free to send your question in the chat. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. G. And just for all the presenters, we would definitely be happy to share any upcoming announcements or anything that you would like to promote with our EARN community via our website and social media outlets. So feel free to follow up with me and we will definitely share that. Are there any questions in the chat specifically for this presenter? Ariana says, is there a link to apply for the internship? I'm sure that it is, and Dr. G will share that with us, and we will share that. And you, Dr. G, you can also put that in the chat as well to Ariana if you would like. Okay, so we will thank you so much. We will move on to our next presenter, Dr. Smith.
All right. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I look forward to the opportunity. I'm going to share my screen here. Okay. Thank you guys for your time. Again, thank you for inviting me, Iris, to present. I'm excited about that. I'm happy to offer up what the Department of Navy's HBCU MI program has to offer, and in hopes that students as well as faculty will find something useful in the time about which I have been allotted to present to you the information that we have that we feel will be important. So our mission, our tenets for the program, is communicate, coordinate, and cultivate. What we mean by that is trying to ensure that we continually provide a vast means by which to get information out to the HBCU MI community and the support of what we, Department of Navy's HBCU MI program has to offer. As far as coordination is concerned, our major focus there is to ensure that we match up different agencies, both federal agencies, even academia, industry, with HBCU students as well as with faculty. And cultivation, we really want to ensure that we are looking at leveraging the long-term commitment. We want to make sure that it's not a one-time visit by an agency or by industry. We want to ensure that HBCU students and faculty are continually getting opportunities provided to them to do research, internships, and faculty fellowships for the Department of the Navy. Our vision and mission, biggest thing here is leveraging the expertise. We are a firm believer and advocate that talent exists beyond measure at HBCUs and MIs. And the vision is to ensure that all agencies, specifically the Department of the Navy, understands that. The mission, as we have outlaid here, is just to foster that relationship, continue to develop new opportunities by which the Department of Navy can work with to enhance the capabilities at HBCUs and MIs via internships, fellowships that are offered, and research. Authority for the program, similar to we have a lot of authorities for the program on how we operate. Won't go into that too much, but do know that we are sanctioned by Secretary of Navy to establish this program for the Department of the Navy. Organization, I'm the program director. As you can see, we have a lot of agencies under the administrative offices that support us down here. So I am very confident that along the lines, there are more than one agency by which both the students and faculty could find means to support the Department of Navy in various areas of research. Listed here now, Naval Supply Command, Naval Sea Systems Command. There are just a variety of commands that support me in this program and to ensure that we provide the vast opportunities to HBCU students and to their faculty. So we have a number of student opportunities. I won't go through all of them specifically, but what I will tell you is that all of our student opportunities are paid internships for students. At this time now with COVID, we have a moderate of between them being on-site or virtual, but you have to be a U.S. citizen, you have to be attending an HBCU or MI, and in good academic standing. The minimum GPA for most of the internship programs are 3.0. Our average GPA of students that are participating within our internship programs average around a 3.3 or 3.4. But as you can see, there are a number of areas in the Naval Air Systems Command that internship focus mainly on anything naval aviation related. The cybersecurity focus a lot on cyber networking and cybersecurity. The Naval Supply Systems Command is focused mainly on logistics, operational research, and the Naval Research Lab is a largest internship program where students are engaged in a number of vast areas of engineering and STEM disciplines. Again, as mentioned here, each of the programs are just a little bit different in regards to what they focus on, but they all are paid internship. Students also get an opportunity to obtain a security clearance, which in the long run pays off more even beyond the opportunity they have here. Students also, be clear, they are not required to join the military, and they are not required at all to become a naval civilian. However, we will say, and we do say more times than not, that if a student spends 1 or 2 summers at a Navy research lab, you will find that their opportunities to be hired by that lab upon graduation are that much higher because students have demonstrated to the PIs and the current scientists and engineers that they are worth that. And we do find students who intern 2 or even 3 summers at a agency or lab will have a better opportunity to be hired. But we do not focus on hiring; it's an indirect effect of participating within the internship program. We do have a new postdoctoral research program that is being executed out of the Navy Research Lab. We're happy to report our very first postdoc is actually in place right now. She is a graduate of Howard University, a PhD in chemistry. So we are again looking at a way and means by to further enhance the opportunities of HBCU graduates, both undergraduate and graduate, to participate in Navy warfare centers and labs. Again, great program for those who have the credentials to apply for this program. Faculty research, there are a number of areas where faculty can participate. We have our summer faculty research program where faculty will spend anywhere between 10 weeks at a Navy research lab facility. It is a paid fellowship for faculty to go out there and do that for 10 weeks, working alongside naval scientists and engineers. The sabbatical leave program is where faculty will spend any time from 6 months to a year at a warfare center or lab, and we've had our very largest influx of those this upcoming school year, which is actually very great for us as well. And we also have our funding opportunity announcement, where this is where faculty have the ability to apply against a Department of Navy funding opportunity or BAA to conduct research for the Navy. And one more area is our faculty startup program for material science engineering. That program is focused on helping faculty at HBCU start up their labs in material science. As mentioned, Summer Faculty Research Program is a 10-week paid fellowship, excuse me. Sabbatical leave is anywhere between 6 months to a year at a Naval Lab Warfare Center, and then the Faculty Startup Program in Material Science available to help faculty set up their labs at an HBCU or MI. Fund opportunity announcement, we have two phases of the funding opportunity announcement. There is the white paper phase, where we will take in white papers and evaluate them. From there, a selected number will be invited to submit a proposal. Proposals will be reviewed, and then with the criteria mentioned there, and then we will select proposals around the July timeframe, with the amount listed here. We are in our final stages of making that announcement to the offerors who have submitted early in the cycle. Again, that's my presentation. I am happy to be a part of this. I thank Iris and Dr. Eden for inviting me to participate. I look forward to sharing more information with you as time is allotted.
Thanks, Dr. Smith. Are there any questions specifically for Dr. Smith right now? Feel free to put it in the chat, or you can turn on your camera and mic and ask it that way. If not, we will move on to Dr. Huggins, but just checking to see if we have any questions for Dr. Smith. I don't see any in the chat. Okay, we will
There
move
was a
on.
hand raised, Iris. I'm sorry. There was a hand raised, Iris. I don't know if you're taking the hand
I
raise.
can't see, sorry. No, feel free to go ahead and ask your question.
Hello, do you listen me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, thank you. My name is Erica Montero. I'm from Dominican Republic. I would like to know if this opportunity some international students could apply to.
So if you're specifically asking for our program, so all of our students, you have to be U.S. citizens to apply for the internship, at least for the Department of Navy's HBCU MI program.
Okay, thank you.
You're absolutely welcome.
Are there any other questions? If not, we will move on to Dr. Huggins. And remember, we'll have a few minutes at the end to ask additional questions of all of the presenters.
All right, well, thank you there, Dr. Iris. Thank you again for inviting us to every year to participate in the EARN conference. I also like to thank AAAS for just making this opportunity available to everyone. My colleagues for the day today, and then also the other workshop that will happen next week. If you go through these two workshops and not get the understanding that graduate school and opportunities that are attached to graduate school or just STEM education are not free and not plethora, there's not a plethora of them, then you were not paying attention. So at the end of this presentation, I hope you would understand that at least there is one opportunity for you to go to graduate school for free. I wish I were in the room with you. I could spend some more time and just have some fun with you. But right now, we're just going to use technology. Just a little bit about myself. I know that graduate school is free because I'm a participant of this program that I'm about to talk about, the National GEM Consortium. It's afforded me an opportunity to work with several companies, as well as now spend time working with students. So I just want to spend the balance of my time just going through and talking to you about the opportunities that are afforded you through the GEM program. Before I get into that, GEM has quietly been doing the work with underrepresented students, helping them get their masters and PhDs in STEM. And it was so quiet, but now that we've been recognized by the White House, it's not quiet anymore. So we just received the Pasmim Award, which is the highest award that you can get, working with mentoring students. We've sent over 7,000 students to graduate school, and we're looking to start our 46th chapter. So we want those that are listening to this presentation, having them actually become part of that 46th chapter of the GEM Consortium. But yes, this was a very momentous achievement for the GEM organization. And so I just wanted to put that out there so that you know the kind of caliber of organization that you will be attaching to if you join the GEM ranks. So a little bit about GEM, for those who may not have heard about the organization, we give out about 500, this year it could be close to 600 fellowships. Our GEM fellows receive full tuition and fees at the 130 universities that we work with. Those institutions are the top 50 engineering programs, all the Ivy Leagues, many of the HBCUs, and just number of institutions that you can go to as a GEM fellow. The reason why it's 130 is because all of these schools that have attached themselves to GEM are very interested in seeing our students not just come to their institution, but also finish at their institution. We also have over 70 employers that provide internship experiences for our students over the summer, so they can see how their education, their graduate education, can be transferred from the lab or from academia into a corporate or a national lab environment. So the GEM fellow is actually supported also by industry as well as the universities. Just by applying to the GEM fellowship program, even if you're not selected as a GEM fellow, there are certain things that you get, some intangibles that you get just by putting your name in the application. Most of our universities will offer tuition, not tuition, but application waivers. So it gives you the opportunity to apply to their institution, because a lot of the schools will have funding outside of just the GEM funding. We do a program called Grad Lab, which stands for Getting Ready for Advanced Degree Laboratory. That program will allow you, if you come to one of those programs, and if you're still required to take the GRE, a lot of schools are not requiring that post-COVID, but if you do come to one of our programs and apply to GEM, we do offer some of those reductions. So we pay 50% of the cost of the GRE with our voucher that we would send to you. Those 130 universities recruit very heavily from our database. So by just having your name in the hat, those institutions recruit very heavily from our database. And the fact that when we were in the pandemic, that was one of the main ways that our universities were able to reach out. So there was it was like gold for them to be able to reach out and touch bases with our students. And then, as like we're doing on this panel, I do workshops with several external fellowship organizations. And so just being able to collaborate with them on various workshops at diversity conferences or just conferences in general, we want to see you go to graduate school for free, whether it's as a GEM fellowship or any fellowship that you hear today or any other day. So stop there. So here's kind of the breakout of what GEM offers to our GEM fellows. So first of all, we're GEM employer fellows. They receive full tuition and fees. You are required to go to one of our GEM member institutions, but you also get paid internships, as I mentioned earlier. And we have a breakout of 2 programs. So we have the Masters in Engineering Fellowship Program. That also includes computer science, but under our master's umbrella, you get 2 years of full support to get your master's degree. Then also 2 paid internships. So you do 1 internship prior to starting graduate school, and then 1 immediately after your first year of graduate school. And best practices say that most of our students, if they do a great job, which most of our GEM fellows do, go on and 90% of them go on and get offers from their employer sponsors. So, but the internship is a required for the GEM fellowship. The PhD, those are up to and including the 5th year, so 5 years of support. The $16,000, I mentioned the $16,000 stipend. As you probably know, there are not a lot of fully funded master's programs in the country. This is one of the few. So you also will include that $16,000 stipend. So essentially it breaks out as $4,000 every semester. And that's the minimum that you can get. Some of our schools will also offer more stipend, but usually it's in using either an assistantship, some type of assistantship, or other fellowships. Now, going back to the PhD, science and engineering. So for the PhD, we do have science and engineering fellowships where the master's is only engineering, but for the PhD it's science and engineering, where you get the 5 years of support, full tuition and fees, one internship requirement, and that is the year of selection. So if you already currently, if you're listening to this presentation and you're currently a PhD student and your advisor is willing to give you the release time to go off and do an internship, you can still apply to the GEM fellowship and still become a GEM fellow. The only requirement for the PhD side, or even at the master's side, is that you have a minimum of at least 1 year left in your program to become a GEM fellow. But again, the $16,000 stipend that goes to support you can be either added to, deferred. We're probably one of the most flexible fellowships out there where you can use the funding when you need it. I always suggest that students save it to the end of their program, so then they can just focus on writing up their dissertation and defending it. However, you can use it whenever you deem fit for your program. As I was mentioning, the internships, this is the only requirement that we have for our GEM fellows, other than graduating, is that the master's students are required to do 2 internships in the summer. PhD required to do 1 internship in the summer, but that's our only requirement. So we're going to give you free education, opportunity to get your foot in the door with a great R&D, either laboratory or a company. This is some of the companies that you would be exposed to. So there are, and this is just a short list. So if you want to get our full suite of GEM fellowship companies as well as universities, you can go to our website, www.gemfellowship.org. This is some of the ones that you probably have seen. So we put those up here for you to kind of know. But again, we have over 130 and 70 companies out there. So now, as I was mentioning earlier, if we're going to give you free education, an opportunity to work with companies, this is what we ask of you. For our master's engineering program, the minimum is 2.8 to apply, and minimum is a 3.0 for PhD. Now, don't let that fool you. The average GPA of our GEM applicant pool, not the ones that are selected, but the ones that our applicant pool is 3.3. And the average GPA of a GEM fellow is 3.5. So it is, as I mentioned earlier, we have the best and brightest individuals out there that become GEM fellows. However, we want you all to apply if you qualify. In addition to the GPA requirement, you're required to have at least 2 letters of recommendation. One should be from a faculty, a detailed resume, a statement of purpose. Your statement of purpose is what you think that you would like to study in graduate school or what you're currently studying in graduate school. All of your transcripts. And then we ask for our target population is underrepresented groups, which underrepresented for us is African American, Hispanic American, and Native American. And you also must be a US citizen or a permanent resident. All right, so if you're a senior or a graduate student, you can go to www.gemfellowship.org. Our application cycles open up July 1st of every year, and it closes November 15th. If I were in the room, I would ask you to say November 15th, and everyone would say November 15th. Then I'll ask you to say it again. I'll say November 15th, and you say November 15th. And then I'll say, what happens on November 16th? And everyone would say, well, you'll be late. I said, no, you won't be late, but you'll be early for next year. So I'd like for you all to apply by November 15th. In addition to the GEM fellowship cycle, you also are required to apply to 3 GEM member universities by their deadline or no later than January 15th. But just know that most students that get full funding to go to graduate school usually apply by that December 1st deadline. So you must do that. And there's 2 exceptions. The first exception is if you're in a BS MS program where you get your bachelor's and master's in 5 years. The second one, if you're currently matriculating at a GEM member institution as a PhD student, we would not require you to apply to 3 schools. For those that do have internships, that have worked with internships, we ask you to also reach out to the schools that, the companies that you've worked with that are part of the GEM program already, and they can do what we call pre-selection. And what does that mean? That means that they already are comfortable with you. They know that they want to invest in you. So they give you the opportunity to become a pre-select, where now you can leverage that. If they want to select you as a GEM fellow, you can go out and talk to graduate schools and graduate programs and say, I'm already pre-selected as a GEM fellow, and it gives you a little bit more leverage as you're going out to get the graduate school of your choice. So again, our application cycle opens up July 1st, and our deadline is November 15th. When our students apply to the program, then we have our employers that will start to reach out to you to see if you're going to be a good fit for the organization. That starts in December, January timeframe and goes through March. Most of our GEM fellows know if they're going to be selected by March, mid-March to end of March. But then some of them get selected after that timeframe, but the majority of our students are selected by March. After that, you let us know where you plan to go to graduate school by April. We like to have by April 15th. And then you will start your internships working with the companies either May, June timeframe based on if you're coming from a quarter or semester school. And then you start your GEM fellowship journey at your new institution, August, September timeframe. That's all I have. I wanted to see if there are any questions. I have a PhD in engineering, but I also have a PhD in talking, but they told me I only had 15 minutes. So I was trying to be kind to my buddy, Dr. Weststaff.
All right, thank you, Dr. Huggins. You actually have about 2 minutes if there are additional questions. And congrats again on Pasmim. That is an awesome honor. So any questions for Dr. Huggins on GEM? You can feel free to put your question in the chat or, turn on your mic and ask the question that way. So I'll just pause to see if there are any questions.
I wasn't that good. I know there gotta be some questions.
If not, again, you can ask at the end. So thank you again, Dr. Huggins. We will move on to Dr. Tolliver with Nist presentation.
Hi, Iris. I promise I'm here. For some reason, I am not being allowed to share. Let's see.
Let me make you host again. Hold on.
Yeah, it's just saying that right now. I just see.
Yep, your co-host.
Let me see.
So when you click on share screen, it's not allowing you?
It's not allowing me to see the window. It's giving me every window, but
yeah, sometimes it's hard for me to find it once you click on share screen.
Yeah.
Down in the right-hand corner, down the bottom right, it says show all windows. If you scroll down, it might show your
right-hand corner.
Yeah, it says share all windows or something like that.
I just see share screen. Yeah. Let's see.
So did you open your presentation on your desktop?
Yeah. Yes, it's open on my desktop.
And when you hit share screen, you can't see your desktop windows. I think that's what you're saying.
I may just have to share my entire screen. Yeah, well, actually, I'm trying to share it won't allow me to even select share. So I'm selecting share screen. I'm in entire screen window. I can't even select share right now.
You want to email it to me?
Okay.
And I'll pull it up. So we'll move on to Dr. Lowe with USPTO, and then we'll circle back to you, Brandon. Just email it to me, and then I'll pull it up.
Okay, this could be a government computer issue, by the way. Sorry, we don't use Zoom.
What? Yeah, wait. Yeah, see if you can email it to me first,
Mhm.
And then I'll see if I can bring it up. I'm checking my email now.
Thank you. Just send it to you. If you want to go
want
to PTO, kind of switch and PTO go next instead of
Yeah,
while we do all
yeah, we'll have Dr. Logo, and then I will work with Randy. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. All right. Let me share my presentation. Hold on just a second. I'm having a little trouble too. Let's see. Do you see
You're
my
good.
screen?
We said you're good.
Okay, hold on. Okay. Welcome to the Patent Examiner information session for the spring 2022 timeframe. So my name is Ann Lowe, and I'm a supervisory patent examiner at the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office. And what I do is I supervise over patent examiners that are working in the artificial intelligence patent unit. So to give you a little background about the USPTO's mission, the mission is to foster innovation, competitiveness, job growth in the United States, and also conduct high quality, timely patent and trademark examination, and also produced intellectual property rights, improve the intellectual property rights protection, and also deliver that information and education worldwide. In just seconds. Okay. So what happens when you submit an application? So first, the patent application is submitted to the USPTO. Then an examination is done on that application by a patent examiner. Then a response is given by the patent examiner and sent to the applicant. And the applicants send in a response. Then the examiner looks at the applicant's response and checks for accuracy or whether the patent, whether they fixed some of the issues that the examiner has pointed out. And the applicant also responds back to that second response by the patent examiner. And then at that point is determined whether the application is going to be allowed or appealed. But actually the way it is that it's not only allowed, but it's probably rejected. And they can do another round of prosecution where they go through the examination by the patent examiner and the second response. They can do that again. They have to pay a little bit of fees. Or if the applicant determines that the application is no longer, they don't want to go for it anymore, or they see enough evidence provided by the examination process that they might not get a patent, they might just abandon it. So those are other options that happens at the end of the patent life cycle. There are many types of intellectual property. And so intellectual property is something where it's like an intangible kind of thing and you're trying to get protection over it. So in terms of ideas, they're like patent ideas. So you can get intellectual property would be considered like a patent, like a utility patent. You can get protection over design patent. As you can see, there's like a design of a guitar with the strings and everything. So you can get a patent over that. And then there's like copyrights, which is basically, books and music and all those kinds of things. Those are property rights for those kind of products. There's also trade secret, like Coca-Cola has like a trade secret, their ingredient for Coca-Cola. That's another property that you can also protect. And then also trademarks. As you can see, there's a bunch of trademarks around here.
that they kind of show.
You're on mute, Dr. Lowe. You hit your mute button. You're still on mute.
Okay. All right. So what is a patent? So patent is basically a property right to exclude others from using the idea that you're trying to get a patent on, or selling it, or offering it for sale, or importing that to that invention. And you get a little bit of protection, like for a period of time for sharing your idea and letting the government know, and you get a little bit of protection that you can protect your ideas from other people from using it, and you can possibly use that to protect yourself if you do see someone use it. The protection for the patent is only in the area that the patent is granted. So there's the U.S. patent system, and other countries have their own patent systems, like China and the European patent system. So if you get a patent in U.S., that's the protection only applies to the U.S. system. So to go over some patent fundamentals, basically the system is quid pro quo, which is what basically that means is that when an applicant discloses their invention to the government in specific terms, like tells what the invention is and how they made it and how to use it, the applicant does receive patent rights to that invention. So why would someone want to disclose their invention to the public? So basically the whole idea is that we want you to promote the idea that when you share something, that people can either improve from it or understand the invention, you know, more things are being done. There's a benefit for further innovation. And the patent grant also gives an applicant a right to exclude. So basically it's a 20-year term from the earliest time you file a patent, and basically allows the applicant to prohibit other people from stealing their ideas. So they can like go to the court system and say someone is selling my product, and you know that is a way to protect your property rights of your patent. And it also helps spur research and also strengthens the national economy. So what is patentable? So the things that are patentable comes from like machines, improvements on existing things, manufacturing things, composition of matter like chemical formulas, and like processes. So what does a patent examiner do exactly? The examiner reviews an application that comes into their area. So for example, I work in the AI area, so we look at applications that are in AI, or my examiners do. And they kind of determine based on the research out there whether they should grant a patent to the applicant's invention. So they will look at what's currently out there. We call that prior art. We research and see whether there's something similar to it or whether someone else has already done it. And based on that research, we give them an analysis and a response saying like, hey, this is not eligible for something because there's something similar to what you are claiming as your invention. So in terms of an application, there are multiple features that when an application comes in that you look at. There's the claims, which is basically someone claiming what the invention is, like a very broad way. And then there's title abstract, and specification is kind of like going into detail how to make the invention, how to use it. So the main part of the patent process is the claims, which are the important part of the patent application, which is basically where the protection of your rights are for an application. So the process for an examination is you read, you understand the invention. Like I mentioned before, you search for the evidence that's already known. Then you write up a legal reply on whether it's patentable and respond to the patent applicants. So we're going to go over some of the qualifications of becoming a patent examiner. The basic requirements are that you do need to be a U.S. citizenship or a national. You depending on where you apply to, there's the Washington, D.C. regional office, which is actually in Alexandria, Virginia, that area, or a regional office that's around the country. And also you need to have a technical degree. Some of the skill sets that we're looking for is that you have a strong technical background, you are analytical, and you are research oriented. You make decisions and can independently manage your own time. And both written and oral communication skills are very important. And also looking at the details of the applications. So what is the benefit of being a patent examiner? So, when you come, if you apply and you are selected as being a patent examiner, we do give you in-house legal training for first 4 months, teach you all the laws and statutes on, how to grant patents for the applications that come in. There's also promotions, which are non-competitive, which basically means that if you can show that you can do the work at the level that you come in and you can do a little bit more, you can get promoted almost, I would say, like every 13 bi-weeks. So like at once a year, you're eligible to get a promotion. Whether you want to do it or not is up to you. But if you can show that you can do the work, you can get promoted on your own without it being competitive up until GS13. If you are coming into the office at this time, since we are like still fully telework because of the COVID stuff, we're doing all the training online. But once the office opens, if you do come in, you do get some accommodations like nice desks and stuff like that. The other things that we have is like we do have overtime opportunities, telework opportunity. This is like one of the bigger things that is known for the patent office, is that there's many opportunities telework. You can work from home. Initially, you can work from home. I mean, at this point, it's like 40 hours a week. And then you can eventually, depending on where you are in your grade, you can work full-time from home anywhere in the country. And I think Puerto Rico as well. You do have a competitive salary. It's a special pay rate because the salary rate is based on DC locality pay. And then there's also training opportunities. There's also other things like social kind of things like affinity groups. And the other things that people also really like is that there is time to time law school tuition reimbursement program. So naturally, like if you are, we do a lot of the law stuff with the technical stuff, and some people do choose to go to law school eventually. And then you can get reimbursed for that as well. You can also pursue advanced technical degree that the office does pay for. And with like the government job, you also get to go into like some of the employee TSP programs and pensions process as well. So USPTO, like year after year, is actually voted one of the best places to work in the federal government, and mainly it is because of the flexibility of like your timing of work. You can set your own work schedule. I mean, after your training time, you can kind of come in when you want, leave when you want, as long as you get your 80 hours in every bi-week and do the amount of work that is for your grade level. Also, people do like the telework program that they can work from home, choose to work from home full-time or part-time. So because of the flexibilities, people do like working at the patent office. In terms of when I was talking about the regional offices, these are some of our regional locations. We have a regional location in Detroit, Denver, Dallas, and San Jose. The Alexandria campus is the main campus and it's the biggest campus out of all of these locations. Right now, we do have patent examiner vacancies. We always do have a rolling kind of vacancy going on. These are the areas currently that we're looking for examiners in. As you can see, biology, biomedical, engineering, chemical, chemistry, computer engineering, comp sci, electrical, and mechanical. These are like open already, and you can look at usajobs.com and apply there. There's a deadline at June 23, 2022 for the next class that's coming in, but you can always check USA Jobs. We are always kind of hiring. The vacancies start at GS7 to GS9, which is our entry level. And the salary range for that is anywhere from 58,000 to like 89, close to 90,000. But the applicants must meet the eligibility requirements, which is US citizenship. So if you have any questions about working for the patent office, you can email recruitment@uspto.gov. And you can just search for USPTO and go to that website and get all the information as well. And that's the end of my presentation. Does anyone have any questions?
Thank you so much. So if anyone has any questions, you can put it in the chat or just go ahead and turn on your mic and ask it that way. Are there any questions? Any questions for PTO? Okay, I don't see any in the chat and I don't see any hands raised, so we will move on to Dr. Tolliver, and I will pull up her PDF. One moment.
So Iris, I could try to share my entire screen and just go to it, if that helps, since we can't get the PPT.
Oh, no, I have it. Do you all see my screen? Will that work? Or do you want
that works? It's just is the text is cut off because it's a PDF. Or maybe you need to zoom out. I don't know. It may just be the text is cut off.
Oh, could be.
There we go. All righty. Good afternoon. My name is Brandy Tolliver. I bring you greetings from the National Institute of Standards and Technology. I apologize for all the technical difficulties today. I'm not sure what's going on, but thank you for having me here today, Dr. Iris, Ern, and I am going to give you some information about Nist. Iris, if you can go back one slide. I'm going to start off by giving you a little bit of information about who we are and what we do, starting with the, sorry, this is probably going to be difficult for. So I always like to start off with a pop quiz. I always like to start off to see how much do you know about Nist? We are one of the small agencies which really, we're not well known. Usually you've probably heard my colleague Ping talk about Department of Energy. You've probably heard about the Office of the Trademark and Patent Office, which is also a part of Department of Commerce like Nist. You've probably heard of the National Science Foundation. That's often what we are confused for, is the National Science Foundation. But I'm going to give you some facts about Nist just in case if you want to go and Google later. There is a link that's here in this slide, and Iris will share this information, the slide deck later on. So did you know that about 2.6 billion times a day, or 30,000 times a second, Nist's internet time service sets computer clocks. So if you're on a clock, your computer right now, or other network timekeeping devices, such as your phone, your iPad, you may be on that device as well. They use those to synchronize telecommunication systems. You are probably sitting in a building that has a smoke detector. Did you know that Nist led the development of performance standards and placements recommendations for smoke detectors now in 94% of American homes, and saving thousands of lives, or half of the home fire deaths occur within 6% of homes with no smoke alarms? I'll give you two more fun facts. Did you know that Nist established a technical expert team to investigate the partial collapse of the Chaplin Tower South Condominium in Surfside, Florida? That's a more recent one. Did you know that Nist has earned 5 Nobel Prizes? They are mostly in our physical measurement laboratory, and believe it or not, the Nobel laureates are still at Nist working doing research. Now I'm going to give you some information about some programs, and I don't want you to think that you only want to work with the Nobel laureates, because there are definitely other well-renowned scientists and engineers at Nist that you can work with. Iris, next slide. So the mission of Nist is to promote U.S. innovation and industrial competitiveness by advancing measurement science, standards, and technology in ways that enhance economic security and improve our quality of life. Next slide. We accomplish this by our Nist laboratory programs. Nist has 5 laboratories and 2 user facilities. These facilities are located mainly in Boulder, Colorado, and Gaithersburg, Maryland. We also have some other satellite campuses, but I'm not going to mention them here. Feel free to go visit our website, www.nist.gov. Next slide. So our mission in STEM education is to develop a diverse world-class pool of scientists and engineers to support the Nist mission in measurement science and standards, and to also to develop a future workforce to be able to help with some of the research that's going on at Nist. We do this partially through our Nist academic programs. Next slide. So just to give you an idea of some of our Nist academic programs, I'm going to talk about a few of our academic programs, not all that are on this list today. Due to the essence of time, we don't have enough time for that today, but I'm going to focus on our Some Undergraduate Research Fellowship Program, our NRC Postdoctoral Associateship Program, our Graduate Measurement Science and Engineering Fellowship, and our PrEP program, Professional Research Experience. Again, I encourage you to go visit the Nist website to learn about the other programs at Nist. So starting with our SURF program, next slide. Our SURF program is our Summer Undergraduate Research Fellowship Program. The mission of this program is designed to inspire undergraduate students to pursue careers in STEM through a unique research experience with Nist. This program was started back in 1993, and our physical measurement laboratory is an 11-week fellowship experience in which participants before COVID would come to campus. After COVID, it's happening now virtually. This summer, it's also occurring virtually moving forward. The program will have a virtual component and also an in-campus component once everyone's allowed to go back to campus safely. The stipend for the program is $6,600 because I know money is always very important. We do provide a lodging subsidy and also a commuting subsidy if you are local to the Nist campuses. At the conclusion of the program, participants will have to deliver an oral presentation. We tell participants it's very important to attend the colloquium at the end of the summer and talk about their research because it's the opportunity for them to generally learn how to communicate their science if they haven't done that before. Also, it's very important because you get to learn about the other research happening with your colleagues. Just to give you some information about the statistics for the 2021 program. In the 2021 program, the campus, again, facilitated Boulder and Gaithersburg, both of our campuses. There were 17 participants in the Boulder program last summer. And in Gaithersburg, there were 140 participants. In general, these numbers are lower than the in-person program. In general, there's about 200 participants Nist-wide or at Boulder and Gaithersburg for the program. There's about a 1/3 chance of getting selected into the program. So I want to make sure I give you those stats. Next slide. So what are the eligibility requirements? You've heard some programs today say you have to be US citizens. Well, for the summer undergraduate program, you have to be either a US citizen or a green card holder or permanent resident. Obviously, you must be an undergraduate, hence the name. You can be a freshman, sophomore, junior, or senior. Must be majoring in a STEM major. I've listed them there. You must be in good academic standing. You might be saying, what does good academic standing mean? Good academic standing means at least a 3.0 GPA. But there are occasions where individuals come in below a 3.0. Sometimes we say there are, those diamonds in a rough. After they have the experience in this program, they go on, they improve their grades, or they just end up becoming great scientists. Also, as the mission statement of the program, we would prefer that you have an interest in going to graduate school or career in STEM. Next slide. So what's the application process? So you would apply on USA Jobs for this opportunity. We have a whole webinar on the webpage that will help you walk through the process because sometimes using USA Jobs can be rather difficult if you haven't used it before. The announcement is generally available in December and it is posted through mid-February. The application process includes, very similar to what my colleagues have stated here, a resume, unofficial transcript. Please don't go to your registrar's office and pay for that transcript. It's rather pricey sometimes. 2 letters of recommendation. They must be submitted in the portal. You will write your applicants. You will type in the letter writer's email address, their name, who they're affiliated with, and they will submit that letter of recommendation for you. You don't upload that. They must submit it for you. You must, again, provide proof of US citizenship or a copy of your green card, proof of health insurance, answer the vacancy questions, and provide a personal statement. So in general, in that personal statement, you kind of want to note what the requirements, you want to note how you're going to fulfill the mission of the program. So what's your STEM discipline? What you're interested in working at Nist? What do you like to do in the future? Would you like to go to graduate school in STEM? Would you like to have a career in STEM? So you want to make sure you target all of those different items in your personal statement. Next slide. So what's some benefits participating in SURF? So some benefits are you get to have a real world experience. You get to build professional networks, not only with Nist scientists and engineers, but also with your colleagues who are going to participate in the program. You get to establish a mentor. Visit new places, obviously, when it's in person. The students have a lot of fun. They go and they take trips. If they're in Gaithersburg, they go up to New York, they go to DC, they go everywhere, and I get to see all the pictures. They get to decide if a career in STEM is right for them. And then also it's the opportunity to potentially land a permanent position or be involved in another Nist sponsored program. And I'm going to describe some more of those programs in the upcoming slides. Next slide. So now we're going to move to the NRC Postdoc Research Associate Program. This program is this is the only program where you, if you are accepted into the program, will come in on a 2-year term appointment as a federal employee. So you'd be earning time as a federal employee. This program is administered through the National Research Council of the National Academy of Sciences. It's considered very prestigious, obviously, because who administers the program? You must be in STEM, and the competitions for the NRC Associateship Program are generally February 1st and August 1st. There is no negotiation on when those applications are due. Those are some very strict deadlines. Next slide. So a little bit more about the postdoc program. It is a congressionally mandated program. Nist has a line item for this program. So this program is administered every year. The other programs are sometimes subjected to the availability of funding, but Nist actually has a line item for this program. Currently, because I know pay is important when we're talking about programs, the current salary for the NRC program is $74,950. There's also some funding to help with relocation, and there's $3,000 available to travel to a conference when those opportunities are available. For this program, you must be a US citizen. There is no negotiating in that. Also, you must have your PhD within 5 years of the time of application. The link is available there to get more information. Next slide. So applying for NRC program, the first thing you want to do is you want to visit that website that was listed on the very first slide that talked about the NRC postdoc program. You want to go and look at the opportunities that are available. There are about 700 opportunities available, but that does not mean that those opportunities are really available. People sometimes have things going on, or the advisors who are hosting those projects, sometimes they may have a difference in research that they have going on. So you want to look at that list, see anyone that's interested, contact them and see if that project is still ongoing. Then you want to let them know you are interested. So it's kind of like building that relationship before you actually apply. The reason why that's very important is because a part of the application process is you're going to have to write a research proposal. So your research proposal is going to be on that opportunity that you're applying to. So it's very important to make sure that opportunity is available. You also have to provide academic transcripts, your dissertation abstract, letters of recommendation, statement of previous and current research, and you can see the list here. And in the essence of time, I'm going to keep going. All right, some other benefits to participate in the NRC post-associate program. The career coaching program was recently started for this program. I guess I think this is year 3. So as a postdoc, you also get the opportunity to get matched with a coach who will help you figure out what's the next steps. Where do you see yourself? This is very important considering this is a term appointment. Also, there are workshops offered to postdocs to help with mentoring. A lot of times our postdocs mentor undergraduate students, or they see themselves later on going into academia. Just in case you're interested in the stats, about 30% of our postdocs are converted to permanent staff. So if you're interested in working in a research laboratory, federal research laboratory, this is one of the mechanisms which Nist recruits its federal staff. Next slide. So I'm going to move into the Graduate Measurement Science and Engineering Fellowship Program. This program is for graduate, it's for pursuing graduate studies. So you must be pursuing a PhD to be able to apply to this program. You must be accepted. Similar to the other programs, I'm winding down in time, so I'm going to speed it up here. This provides financial assistance and also research experience. So in general, the students are funded for up to 3 years. Again, it all goes back to the availability of funding. The students are given, they must be accepted into a university as a part of the 150 universities that are available on the website listed here on this page. If the university is not available there, sometimes Nist can get that university added. So don't think that you can't consider the program because that university is not there. There is a stipend of $20,000 annually. In addition, when you do your research appointment, you have a summer appointment which you must fulfill at Nist, and that's at least for the first year. You will get paid for that particular fellowship as well. So your award could be up to $30,000 per year if you do that fellowship as well. Next slide. So what's the application process like? So you must Similar to the other programs, submit a transcript, employment history, professional technical references. You can submit a minimum of 3, maximum of 5. Your scholarships, honors, and awards, publications, and you can see the list here. And sorry, the pictures got missed. I've noted I see captions, but no pictures of the students. Next slide. So last but not least, this is again talking about applying for the fellowship. I think something happened with the slides here. This was the same slide, but with the student. Next slide. All right, so the last program I want to talk about is our professional research experience program. The beauty about this program is if you're accepted to any of the previously talked about programs, the 3 previously talked about programs, and say the researcher wants to keep you around, but maybe say for SURF, it's no longer the summer, so they can't keep you around because it's not the summer. You're not in graduate school anymore, you graduated. And maybe you didn't get accepted into the postdoc program. Again, that postdoc, the acceptance rating into the program is very, very low. So there is, hypothetically, the first time you apply, you may not get accepted. Generally, applicants don't get accepted until the second try of applying to the program. So PrEP is a nice alternative to be able to collaborate with Nist staff. Now, PrEP, it is a corporate agreement that's actually provided to universities and colleges. They'll apply through a funding opportunity. So anyone that's potentially from a university or college right now, the funding opportunity for the new PrEP award opportunity, the new PrEP funding opportunity will be available potentially in the summer. So if you're interested in being a part of this program, please feel free to look for the coming up funding opportunity on grants.gov. Next slide. So these are the current universities that are affiliated with the PrEP Gaithersburg program, with the PrEP Boulder program. There's also Brown University that works with PrEP Boulder, and also University of Colorado Boulder. Next slide. So you may have looked at those and may have looked at those schools previously and said, I'm not, a student of those particular schools. Don't worry, because if you're not in a student status, you do not need to be enrolled at those institutions. It's only important when you're in student status that you must be enrolled at those institutions. So as you can see, we have so many different categories of researchers that can participate in PrEP. So you can be an undergraduate, a post-bachelor's degree holder. So that means you've already graduated with your bachelor's degree. You have a bachelor's graduate student, master's degree holder, postdoc, and research faculty. So only those research categories that are student must be enrolled at those institutions. The others, you would just become an employee of that particular institution. So there's no prior affiliation necessary. Next slide, and I promise I'm getting near the end. PrEP researcher appointment. So you may be wondering, how do I apply? This sounds really unique. How do I get involved in this? Well, there's technically not an application at Nist for you to apply. These relationships start by, and I think my colleague, Dr. Huggins, kind of hinted toward this, leveraging relationships. So essentially, you would reach out to a Nist sponsor, or they would be a potential sponsor of Nist Sciences and Engineering, saying, I'm interested in the research you're working on. I would love to collaborate with you. What that researcher would do is they would say, oh, yeah, we do have something in common. And yes, I have some funding to support you. This is ideal world. Not necessarily this is how this might happen. But if that's the case, then they would try to work with you through one of our PrEP institutions. And then they could offer you, they could say to the university, hey, I'd like to work with Mary Jane. Mary Jane, they submit all the paperwork, and then that university would become your employer and send you your offer letter, but you would be working at Nist. Happy to talk about that more offline. I'm going to wrap this up. I can't conclude without talking about our success story. So all these people you see here, they have been through more than one of these academic programs. Andre, Dr. Thompson, Dr. Sims, and Dr. Paris-Stu are all current employees at Nist. So they have not only went through the programs, but they are now permanent staff at Nist. So in any of our programs, you never know where it may land for you. You may end up, coming through even our high school internship program. I have a student that came from the summer high school internship program, which I didn't talk about, but talked about a little bit. He came through our summer undergraduate research fellowship, stayed on through Pathways, which is keeping you on as a federal employee. And now he has been converted to a permanent staff member. So we have a lot of success stories, and we've seen a lot of magic happen with these programs and keeping students in the STEM pipeline. I'm going to wrap this up because I know I went over time. Thank you all for bearing with me and my technical difficulties. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. My email will be listed in the slides, and I'm happy to answer any questions in the question and answer period.
And thank you, Dr. Brandy, for that awesome presentation and really sharing some awesome post-bac opportunities, which is rare. Thank you to all of the presenters. Before I show my closing slide, I just want to drop the survey link in the chat in case some of you have to leave. Please complete the survey. We'll also be sending this via email at 3 p.m. as soon as we conclude. And then I also want to share a few NSF and AAAS opportunities as well. I'm putting that in the chat now. So we will open up for Q&A. Again, feel free to turn on your camera and mic. Any questions of any other presenters, or you can put your question in the chat. This is the time, and we have about 4 or 5 minutes for that. And thank you again to all of the amazing presenters today. So any questions?
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm not a presenter. I just want to share. So I was a GEM fellow, fabulous program. I also worked at Nist over the summer, fabulous program. And my Nist experience was not through a conventional means. The discussion before was about relationships. I was at University of Maryland, College Park, working on my PhD, and someone said, "Hey, what are you doing this summer?" And I was like, "I don't know." And they said, "Go to Nist." And I mean, the summer before, I worked at the Census Bureau. And that summer I had to go to Gaithersburg to work for Nist. And I mean, it was kind of night and day in terms of the pay was excellent. And I met some really interesting, bright people. And so all that to say, if I can encourage anyone from my experience, definitely, you know, GEM was a awesome resource for me as a graduate student. I went to Kodak for the summer. And so being in Rochester was different, but it was definitely an important experience. And so, you know, I guess 2 things, just want to share my experience, but also if any of the speakers, you know, says something that you're interested in, please follow up. I know we're always looking to get students interested and expand our network of folks. And sometimes we come to these kind of talks and then kind of forget about it. But if you can go ahead and jump on it, I think that would be great. And thank you so much for allowing me to share my experience.
Thank you, Centriga, for the awesome, you know, personal testimony and witnessing to all, you know, definitely hope you take advantage of all of these great opportunities presented by, you know, all of these great organizations. There really is a lot, and I just really wanted to share some of these opportunities and so many of them with our EARN community. Any other questions? I did put the survey link in the chat, and I also shared some NSF and AAAS opportunities, but any other questions from any of our presenters? Any questions? If there are no questions, as I said earlier, we will be sharing all of the slides and the resources and additional information that the presenters would like to share. We will be compiling all that and sharing them by mid next week at the latest on our website. And we'll also send that to each of the presenters. So if there are no questions, I will go ahead and share my closing slides. So hopefully you all can see that. Again, please complete the survey to let us know that, you know, your thoughts of this webinar. We have another webinar scheduled for May 18th, again at the same time, with some of the same organizations, but different units, but pretty much a different slate of organizations for May 18th. For more information, visit about the EARN conference, visit us at our EARN website, emerging-researchers.org, and definitely follow us on social media. We have, you know, follow us via Twitter or LinkedIn. So that is my closing slide. Were there any questions? Yes, thank you, David. Yes. And again, we'll be, posting this on our website and then sending this to all of the participants from today. So, if there are any faculty or mentors out here, please share these with your students and postdocs, early career scientists. Definitely please share this information. I think this is some amazing, amazing opportunities that a lot of people don't know about. So just thankful to all of you for sharing these amazing opportunities. So if there are no questions or closing thoughts, thank you for joining us today, and hopefully we'll see some of you on our next webinar on May 18th. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.